But I think we're going to get started. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much, Mark, for coming and speaking with us today. So I'm just going to do a quick introduction for Mark, and then we'll move into the interview portion. And then if anybody has any questions, you can put those in the chat, and then Kayla will look out for them at the end. So Mark is currently the director of competitions and events at High Times Magazine, a cannabis publication and events company founded in 1974. He graduated from Pace Alumnus School of Business and the Advertising Team Workshop in 2012. Mark has worked at companies like New American Marketing, Constant Contact, and moved to Los Angeles to work in the entertainment industry. Other than his career, Mark has been cooking and skateboarding for 2 years and counting, and continues to rep the Pace University name. So to get started, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your current role and your responsibilities?
Yes, and it's been cooking and skateboarding for 20 years.
Oh, 20, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 2 decades worth. But yeah, my name is Mark. Some people call me Kaz. You guys call me whatever your heart desires. But yeah, I graduated from Pace in 2012. Loved my time at Pace. And kind of just quickly, in a nutshell, got a job at News America Marketing, which is like a traditional marketing firm in Midtown Manhattan. Was very hyped to get a great, corporate full-time job right out of college and even before graduation, which just made me feel great and, felt like I was on my way to big things. That job ended up being very boring. I was selling newspaper inserts inserts in Sunday newspapers for consumer packaged goods like Johnson & Johnson, P&G. So big names, big companies, learning the whole corporate structure and whatnot. But I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I stayed there for about a year and a half. I got promoted, and then I actually got fired shortly after being promoted because I was working myself to the bone. And for some reason, my department was small and they didn't need as many people. So it was like a fire layoff type thing. I was crushed. I felt horrible about myself. I remember walking out of the office in the middle of Midtown, just being like, wow, I just lost my first job out of college. And that sucked, but it was a great awakening to find something that I really, really liked. And during college, and I don't know if I'm rambling or answering your specific question, but
no, you're good.
Yeah, but while I was in college, and I can go into the whole experience, but more so what helped me bring my career to Los Angeles is there was a couple friends that I had in the BFA program at Pace, and they were doing acting, musical theater, etc. We started watching Entourage at the time, and we were like, oh my God, like this could be our life. So like I was on the business end and I was very involved in all the marketing and advertising programs at school and, internships and whatever else. And I had a friend named Cooper who was, killing it in the acting program. Everybody loved him. So he had the personality like Vince from Entourage, and I was like the E. So we decided to just like kind of partner up for a little bit. I started to get him random gigs around town, small roles in short films, stand-up comedy gigs, have him playing guitar at bars, random stuff. He was multi-talented, and we loved it. And we felt like the whole Entourage lifestyle was something that we could do. So he moved out to Los Angeles and was there for a little while and was doing his acting thing. And then I moved out there not to pursue a career with him, but just in the entertainment industry itself. So trying to learn the business from the ground up, what are agents, talent agents, what are talent managers, how do you find deals for talent, how do you sign talent, things of that nature. So once I got fired from that job, I flew out to LA, slept on a couch for a week, interviewed at a bunch of different management companies and talent agencies, got a job offer on the spot at one interview, which, I used to just really, really try to develop my interviewing skills and resume workshop skills, and even had a little side hustle at Pace, helping people prep for interviews and, chop up their resumes, which was fun. So yeah, moved out, got a job, which they actually, I flew out there in like March, and I told them that I was still finishing up my job and needed until September. They held my job for me until then, which was amazing. I got a quick job at Constant Contact, which at the time was single platform. So it's like a menu management software company working with restaurants, gyms, salons, anybody with a menu of products or services. I was helping to get their business on Google, Yahoo, Eat24, all the different websites that you can imagine to where you want to attract customers. So that was a cool experience, but I was working there knowing that I was moving to Los Angeles within, 4 months. But did well at that job, became like one of the top 3 salespeople, loved it, loved the hustle of sales. So anybody who's, thinking about getting into sales or afraid of getting into sales, I would definitely recommend it now while you're young, hungry, energetic, and can take, brush stuff off your shoulder. It's a really, really great experience to just be cold calling people. Even actually in my freshman year, the summer after freshman year of college, I did door-to-door sales in the blazing heat of Ohio, where I was walking to random businesses, asking for the manager and trying to sell them discount baseball tickets. And half the time people would be like, dude, like, screw off, get a real job. Like, what are you doing with your life? And then I'd go next door and somebody would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Let me get one from my daughter, one from my brother, and 10 for my clients. So it was a really cool experience just going through those no's, waiting to get those yeses. Highly recommend any sales experience. So anyway, moved out to LA, started a talent agency in the mailroom where everybody starts, whether you have a bachelor's degree, master's degree, law degree, whatever. You have to start in the mailroom. You're literally pushing carts to crazy, aggressive A-type personality agents who represent some of the biggest clients like Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, Bill Burr, Will Ferrell, etc. So they all feel very entitled and cool. And some of them are, but yeah, it's very difficult personalities to deal with. So pushing mail and delivering mail and coffee to these people while learning the business, learning client lists, learning how to engage with talent, sign talent, etc. Worked my way up onto a music touring desk. So you kind of work in the mailroom until an agent's desk opens up. I wanted to get into something live. I like events. I like people, dealing with people. And, I wasn't so gung-ho about, oh, I love movies or I love writing or anything like that. So I was really adamant about being in live comedy or live music. Live music opened up. I got on a desk working for an agent. I was working for clients like Rick Springfield, who did like Jesse's Girl and stuff like that. A bunch of old classic rock talent. And it was fun. It was aggressive. It's very high volume of calls and emails, which really helped build my work ethic. And that was cool for a while. And then my boss and the head of the music department were like, come into our office. Don't make any facial expressions. Don't say a word. We're leaving the company today. We want you to come with us. We're moving to this other talent agency, which is better. And we're going to promote you soon and this, that, and the other. They're like, either meet us in the parking lot and drive away with us silently, or go back to your desk, pretend like we never had this conversation, and who knows what's going to happen to you. You'll probably end up back in the mailroom. And I was like, wow, this is Hollywood. This is Los Angeles. Welcome. So decided to go with them, and it actually like hit Hollywood Reporter, Variety. The head of music, leaves the agency, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't mentioned because I was just a little lowly assistant, but it was cool. And all my friends were like, wait, did you go? What? Where are you? So moved over to another agency. It was not a better agency. It was miserable. It felt like a funeral home there, as opposed to the first agency that I was at, which was lively, a lot of young 20-something-year-olds just hungry, willing to meet friends, etc. And the second agency wasn't that great. So I finished up maybe 8 months there while searching to move to another agency, which was the kind of the number one agency in the talent world, called Creative Artist Agency. Had a friend refer me, moved over there, moved from music touring to comedy touring. So working with all live stand-up comedians, and it was a goofy world. So got out of music, went into comedy, worked at CAA for about 2.5 years, just hustling, suit and tie, answering phones, answering emails. But it was fun, going out to comedy clubs a ton, learning the comedy world, learning what it takes to be a comedian, what it takes to be a comedy agent, and really just like diving myself into that whole world. And then High Times came around. So we signed High Times, again, as Nicole mentioned, it's been around since 1974. So way before my time. It started in New York as an underground counterculture magazine. The first cover was a girl eating mushrooms and, primarily focused on cannabis, but it was everything, just counterculture, topics on politics, science, growing, business, etc. So it was really cool. It's been around for a long time. So we signed High Times to help with business development stuff, help with their festivals. They have these large, huge, think of like a Coachella for cannabis. So they wanted us to help bring in more talent and art, things of that nature. So we signed them, helped work with them for a little bit. I got close with the ownership over there. And then they offered me a job. And at first I actually said no, because I really wanted to stay on the agent path. I really wanted to be, in the talent world. And then that world was just kind of beating me up. I wasn't moving up as quick as I wanted. And I had a heart to heart with my boss. And I was like, what do you think this is? I've been working for you for 2.5 years now. When am I going to have my chance to move up? And because the department was also small there, because comedy departments are very small compared to like motion picture talent, motion picture literary, things of that nature. And he was like, I don't know how soon it's going to be. It could be years. So, if you want to take this opportunity, go for it. So I took it, went over and just started helping out with their talent booking for their festivals, random other business development stuff, content stuff, bringing in influencers to help with some of their campaigns and events. And I've been there 3 years now. Took over the competitions about 1.5 years ago. So what I mean by competitions is it's called the Cannabis Cup. So it started in Amsterdam in the 80s, and it's all about just the battle of the buds and other products. So, in the 80s, there's no branding, there's no packaging. New York doesn't have a ton of that either. But if anybody's ever been to California, everything is like very highly branded product. It looks like you could find it in a high-end, shop of some sort. So all about just like giving blank bags to judges who know, how to find the attributes of cannabis, what it tastes like, what it smells like, how it makes you feel, what are the desired effects, how does it benefit different medical, symptoms, things of that nature, sleep, apnea, inflammation, pain, things of that nature. And so that's where it all started, all in Amsterdam. Then they brought it to the United States in 2010. And now I get to run those. So I'm going state to state, working with all licensed brands. It's all legal cannabis brands. Everything is fully legal, which is just an amazing thing to say nowadays. And we work with these brands. They submit different products, whether it's flower, vape pens, edibles, lotions. There's even a great, market for sexual health products. Tinctures and capsules for those who don't want to, indulge in smoking or eating edibles, which, can be scary to some people. So all these different brands submitting their product, we gather them up. We create judge kits all by category. We give them out to judges and they take those home and they're judging them from home safely on, again, aroma, aesthetics, taste, effects, burnability, all these different criteria. We gather all that data, aggregate it, and then we announce all the winners and give out these beautiful trophies, which like really help these brands become a level up. Small mom and pop shops have won, a best chocolate that they've made from their kitchen. A married man and woman who are just trying to figure out a business in their kitchen. All of a sudden they make great chocolates and now they're winning first place at Cannabis Cups and they have a booming business. Everybody wants to, bring their products into their dispensaries. They want to work with them. So it's a really great way for these brands to level up in the cannabis space. And that's the whole career path. What's next?
Amazing. So what was some of your most formative experiences at Pace?
Definitely ad team. That was really great. Again, I hats off to you guys for having such a great program with that. I think it's really important that it's a year long. I think it's important of how close you get with the people that you're working, day and night. Don't be afraid to have late hours because that's really when the ideas come out and that's really when the friendships blossom. So ad team was a really great thing for me. I didn't do, taking a step back, I didn't do much in high school. All I did was keep my grades up and I skateboarded. and that's it. I wasn't involved. And then something kind of just like flipped when I moved to college, and I was like, all right, there's so many different programs, so many different clubs. Like I need to be a part of something because I want to, I'm moving from middle of nowhere, Ohio to enormous New York City where I don't know anybody. And I wanted to network. And I also wanted to just build my resume with other stuff besides just like, oh, I'm in class. So yeah, I was part of the Pace University Marketing Association. That was fun. Helped me with even just like very minimal design skills and whatnot, speaking skills, and just like organizing different events and whatnot.
If I could just jump in here, for those of you who've taken a class with me, I don't know if you know this, Mark, but we have every campaign since we began doing this in 2005 or 6, and we have the videos. Do you know that we have you on the website, Mark? Do you know we have your presentation?
No, I didn't know that. It's amazing.
I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link. But if you want to see Mark present, he was one of the lead presenters on Nissan, along with a couple of really great people. But Mark was one of the lead presenters, and we have tryouts. You just can't walk in and say I want to present. You have to try out. And Mark, he nailed it on the tryouts, and he nailed it in the presentation. So anyone wants to check out Mark and how he was thousands of years ago, just look at the Nissan presentation.
Thousands of years ago. That's so cool. Yeah, send me that. I'd love to see that. I'm probably so corny in it. Yeah, Puma was awesome. I used to rep that so hard. All my friends thought I was so corny, but I didn't care. Like I was just like, I'm going to join all this different stuff. I joined Alpha, the Association of Latino Professionals in Finance and Accounting. I'm half Cuban, but other than that, I had no business being in that organization, but I was part of like the marketing side of it. So helping to build the flyers, put the events together, things of that nature. And it was fun and it was cool. I got to meet a bunch of different people from all walks of life. There's so many people who go to Pace, as I'm sure you guys know. And it's just such a melting pot of different people. So yeah, Ad Team, Puma, Alpha, those are really great kind of things that help me just feel good, build my confidence, build my network. And that's really what I spent a lot of time doing, just like getting to know different people. I was on the honors floor my freshman year at Maria's Tower. So working with all the nerds and whatnot, but I loved all of them. And it was so fun to get to know them. I was, this might not be politically correct. Some of my best friends and who have helped me in my career and vice versa. And that's real, that's the stuff that helps develop these relationships. TJ was there along the whole time too, so he knows what's up. But we did a lot of fun stuff, just like figuring out our lives, figuring out what our passions were, yeah, that was really cool. And also one thing is studying abroad. I studied abroad my junior year. I highly recommend trying to study abroad if you can. I definitely went into a little bit of debt from it, and not all my credits transferred over. So it put me a tiny step back, but it was 1000% worth it. I am still lifelong friends with some of the people that I studied abroad with. You get out of your comfort zone. You are no longer worrying about, oh, what does my friend down the hall think of me or whatever else? It's like, if you guys have ever watched Gary Vaynerchuk, some people love him, some people hate him. He's a little corny, but he also has a lot of great messages. And it's just like, a lot of us are so limited by what our parents think of us or what they expect of us, what our friends and peers think of us and expect of us. And when you get out of, worrying about that and just moving to another country for a little while, it really puts you at the forefront of what you want for yourself, what you think about yourself, and what your real passion is. So yeah, I'd say some of those were my formative experiences.
Amazing. And where did you study abroad?
I studied abroad in London, University of Westminster. Yeah, it's great.
And then apart from being a part of those organizations on campus, did you have like any internship experience while you were in college?
Yep. My first internship was at a very tiny social media analytics agency called Social Fulcrum. I don't think it's even around anymore, but it was a one-man shop. It was just a guy looking for a free intern, and he got one. And I helped kind of scour the internet for whatever clients he was working with to identify, okay, how many impressions are you getting on these different platforms that we're putting you on? What are people saying out there? And literally just finding like comments and reviews and feedback from people all over the internet. And then like keyword identification, figuring out what people are searching for to come across their products, things like that. That was fine. It was just kind of my first internship ever. And then I worked for the Professional Wingman, which was like a real life hitch or like a real life matchmaker. That was fun. And it was actually with I interned with this person and another Puma or Pace colleague, student at the time. And that was really fun. So we helped with like marketing, developing his business cards, flyers, just kind of spreading the word for him. That was pretty fun. And then finally I got an internship at NBC Universal doing social media for the Oxygen Network, for the Bad Girls Club, which was fun and ridiculous and not my type of show, but it was interesting. So I would just have to review segments of the show and then come up with great captions or copy for social media posts and figuring out cool photos to use to kind of highlight the moments of these shows, post them to help attract traffic to the site and to the show itself. And that was cool. I realized that I wasn't as well versed with social media as I thought, so that helped me kind of develop some of those weaknesses, and applied to be an NBC Universal page and didn't get in. But I was good anyway.
Great. So those are most of the questions that we have, but I can open it up to anybody in the meeting who has any questions.
I have one question. Do you guys hire interns?
So we don't have any interns now, and High Times is, a lot of people think it's a big company. It's really a small company. I kind of feel like I'm working at a startup still, although it's been around for so long. We're now starting to hire retail employees because we just launched retail shops in California and delivery. So now we're having a whole nother side of kind of employment on that side. But in terms of like full-time corporate employees, there's really like 15, 20 of us. I could definitely use an intern. So I'd be happy to see if we do offer school credit or any, payment or something for an internship. So I'm open to trying to help anybody find a.
Let me know, and I'll get you a good one. Let me know.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Remote interns acceptable?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be. I'm sure all of you guys are in New York. I work remotely anyway nowadays. But
how has the last year affected your business, your business life, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, all of it. It's affected the business. Events were a very large chunk of High Times business. We have a festival, every month or every other month. Again, it's like a Coachella for cannabis. So it's a huge, plot of land. We put a stage in, we put all these vendor booths in, and we have hundreds of different cannabis brands who are just there promoting their brand, selling product in the markets where it's legal to sell product. We get Wu-Tang, we get Capital Cities, we get, huge A-list music talent to perform. And it's a really cool, 2 to 3 day festival. But that all went away when COVID hit. So we had to really pivot. The competitions that I run that I mentioned are now essentially virtual. So typically when the events were live, the judges would pick up the judge kit and then they would judge that, and then we would announce the winners at the festival. Now it's all just a digital award show. So same kind of process. They get the kit, they're judging it, but then we just have to do a live stream digital award show. And you guys can see me hosting it if you ever want to check out High Times Cannabis Cup Award Show. But yeah, it knocked us on our heads, and we had to quickly pivot to this model, which has luckily been working out very well, and I get to look good for it. And then in terms of business life, yeah, I'm at home most of the time, so I'm not really going to the office. Definitely missing that like social camaraderie of office life and being with people. And, as much as commutes suck, especially in LA where, it takes me 45 minutes to drive a couple miles. I miss that sometimes, jamming in that car on the way to work, getting yourself ready. And now it's harder to identify the work-life balance when it's just wake up, oh, here's my computer. When do I start? When do I stop? It never ends.
Yeah.
Welcome to Professor Nankin's world. That's how he works.
I was just
I remember coming to your office at like way evening, and I'm like, what are you still doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're in my office as well as my home.
Yeah. What else? Keep tossing questions.
Are
Who's
you
trying
gonna,
to get? Is it?
are you gonna be physical this summer? You think this summer you guys are gonna go back to physical events where people are physically together in a tent or a venue or someplace?
I think we are. We're actually trying to do that in Oklahoma, which has quickly become a very large market for cannabis. Just low barrier to entry for businesses to get land and to get licenses. So we did an event there, a live in-person event there a couple years ago, and now they're finally opening up and ready to have something like that. So we're trying to get Oklahoma in July, and then hopefully in the fall we'll be able to get California to open up as well, but that's been kind of slow to expand.
Right.
Yeah. And then my closest to New York, we're about to launch our first ever Cannabis Cup Massachusetts, which is very exciting. So I'll be over kind of on that coast near New York. So who knows? Maybe we'll make a quick pit stop to New York, see the homies.
Absolutely. Massachusetts went legal about a year or 2 years ago, maybe. So it's taken a couple of years for that whole infrastructure to start to get to a point where now High Times is going to go there. So is that correct? There's like a lag
Yep.
when the law passes and when things happen?
Absolutely. Yeah, because the law will pass and then it's like, okay, now we are able to start approving licenses. We're able to start revamping our medical program, our recreational program. And that's what we need. So if I'm going into a market, I need to make sure that there's going to be enough different licensed brands to enter our competition, because we don't want to have just like 3 companies competing against each other. And I need enough judges who are either medical patients who have their card and can legally purchase medicine, or if it goes recreational, then that's always the best, because it's just anybody 21 and up is able to go to a dispensary and purchase.
Well, wait, the judges, how do you select the judge for this? How does that work?
So in the past, we would have a small amount of judge kits, and so like 200 judge kits. So we would hand select about 200 judges. They would apply. We'd get thousands of applications. We mostly chose people who were just like the growers themselves, who weren't competing. Anybody who's been in the industry for a while, and to be in the industry for a while, sadly, it was all illegal black market stuff for the most part. So we're choosing those people who have been busting their butt and risking their livelihood and their lives to help move this industry forward, and they've done so. And so we treat them well. We respect their opinion. So we'd hand select a lot of those people, or people who would be friends of High Times. Now it's the people's choice. So we get a lot more product. We get a lot more judge kits. So instead of 200 kits, we have like 2,000 kits. And then I distribute those to a bunch of retailers in each state. So for example, I'm going to Michigan next week. We're gathering product. We're creating 2,000 kits. We're distributing, 100 kits to 15 different dispensaries, 20 different dispensaries. And then it's first come, first serve. Anybody can be a judge as long as you're, eligible in that state to purchase, which luckily it's recreational in Michigan. So people from Ohio, New York, Illinois, people come all over to go to our Michigan events. So now it's just first come, first serve. So we're getting OG cannabis connoisseurs. We're getting moms who are trading their glass of wine for a joint at the end of the night, new consumers, old consumers, people who like to smoke, people who like to eat, all that. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds good. I think, I don't know if Lexi, are you there? I see her screen. I'm not sure if she's there. Oh, there she is. So
I'm here, sorry.
Does Clio have a cannabis division?
They do. Nicole, you'd be a little bit more familiar with that because that started a little bit after sorry, I'm snacking a little bit.
They
started a little bit after I know.
They do. They have that department.
They do.
Yes.
So Mark, have you connected with Clio?
Yeah, so we actually launched that award with them last year, and we did the Cannabis Clio Awards presented by High Times. I wasn't so a part of that because I was traveling for my Cannabis Cups. But yeah, we had a lot of cannabis brands who are doing amazing marketing work. And what's cool is that there's a lot of people coming from the traditional marketing world or the consumer packaged goods world who are finding the value and the opportunity in cannabis and moving over to those industries to help lend a hand, because, you know, a lot of the people who have been in this industry for so long, all they know is the science and the agriculture of cannabis, and they're not business savvy, they're not marketing savvy, etc. So it's a really good opportunity for people like you guys to get into this industry, especially now since New York is going legal. There's, you know, you can work at a testing lab, you can work at an agency, you can work at a company and work within their branding department, product development department, compliance, you know, learning compliance of what are the purchase limits? How do I legally transfer product from a processor to a dispensary? All those types of things. But back to Cleo's, yeah, we did an event with them and it was fine. I don't think it was like a huge success on anybody's part. And if they're still running it, yeah, I mean, I think that's great. There's plenty of marketing agencies and brands who should be.
Nicole, are they going to be running it again at Clio?
I think they are going to be running it again, and I think they
It'll get
started
big.
in
It'll get big every year.
2019 when I started interning.
That's cool. That's cool. Are there any spokespersons in the advertising of any of the high times milieu or industry people? You know, the brands that are being launched, are there any spokespeople?
In which way? Like a brand ambassador kind of deal?
Yeah, or where people are kind of recognizable and they take this branded product to relax, or that kind of thing. I'm thinking about the whole advertising.
Oh yeah. I mean, Chelsea Handler is a big spokesperson for cannabis. Whoopi Goldberg has her own line of products.
Makes sense.
Al Harrington and Ricky Williams, those are sports athletes who have gotten into the cannabis industry. John Sally, Jim Belushi has his own Belushi Farms. Yeah, there's a ton of people. Jay-Z has his own line of cannabis now. We have Russ, who's another, you know, not even up and coming now, but he's very popular hip hop artist. He just launched his own cannabis line. Seth Rogen, he has Houseplant, which is a really cool cannabis line, which they sent us a sample like 2 years ago before they launched, and it came with different types of cannabis. So there's hybrid, which is kind of in the middle. Then there's indica, which is really supposed to make you it's more sedative, makes you sleepy, relaxed. And then sativa, which is supposed to be energizing, creative, thought-provoking, things of that nature. So he sent us a few samples of each of those different lines, and each of them came with a record of music that would associate to what you were supposed to kind of the desired effects. So that was a really cool little like press launch that he did. And now it's killing it. You know, he's making little lighters for coffee tables and other ceramics, high-end ceramics. So it's really cool to see all these different people. And there's going to be, you know, the cannabis industry has been around for so long, and there's a lot of haters in it. People are going to say, oh, all these chads and big businesses coming in to take our culture. So you hear a lot of that stuff, and even Seth Rogen's getting hated on because it's like, oh, does he really love cannabis like he says he does, or is it just for money? But, you know, if you don't have haters, you're not doing anything right.
Right. Well, that's true too. I'm thinking about back in our days, Cheech and Chong were the ones that were really well known.
Yeah. And they're still going. They're still going. They just entered our recent competition.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, for Chong's. I think it's just called Chong's, but they have a daytime tincture and a nighttime tincture.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's great album too, by the way. Have you ever heard it? The Big Bamboo album was one of the best ever. But that's another story. How about the rest of you? Anybody else any questions? Because it's not every day we get a celebrity in an industry, particularly like cannabis. So anybody have any other questions?
I have a question.
What's up, John?
How you doing? I was wondering, as like a magazine, could you ever see your company like releasing a strain or like coming or growing at all?
Yeah, we actually just finally did that in Michigan. So we've never touched the plant before in terms of actually creating our own products. But yeah, we recently partnered with a licensed Michigan grower, and we have our own line of cannabis products in Michigan. So we have flower, pre-rolls, and now we're working on other types of products. So it's all under the High Times name and available in Michigan. And we're planning to do the same thing in California within the next like 6 months as well. So finally plant touching, which is like a whole new world of opportunities for us. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. What else? Is anybody trying to get into the cannabis industry?
I actually have a question. So working in kind of an industry that's not entirely accepted legally and morally, I guess, in some areas and demographics, how have you been able to, like, has that affected marketing High Times, and how have you been able to navigate that?
Question.
Yeah, we're definitely very limited on what any cannabis brand can market. So, it's all about not looking like it's kid friendly. A lot of markets say you can't even promote it really in any way. Like branding cannot be shown except inside of private settings. But yeah, like Facebook, and Instagram, we get a lot of our posts flagged. You cannot promote the sale of cannabis in any way, shape, or form. And it's a pretty gray area. So, we found some different ways to work around that. And there's a lot of agencies who have helped identify ways around it and are making a killing off of just advising clients on, hey, this is the way that you can promote it. So for example, instead of saying, hey, our new flower line is really great, check it out at this shop, we would publish an article about it and then promote the article. And then that is the loophole so that you can promote editorial and magazine content, and that'll link to the article, which then promotes our cannabis line, but you can't just directly promote the cannabis line on Instagram. So
Yeah,
there's things like that.
Yeah, that's super clever. Do you think it's improving as as we go on in terms of social media?
Yeah, I think it's definitely improving, but it's still such a hassle to get around these things. And people who spend their lives and every day building their social media following, they get up to 100K, and then all of a sudden their account gets deleted because they put up a post that Instagram deemed, against their policy. So yeah, it's hitting people hard every day. And even for me, it's like, I'm out there, I'm promoting this company and whatnot. Will this affect my career later? Potentially, but we're moving towards every state being legalized. We're moving towards federal legalization. And if a company is going to say, oh, we can't hire you because you used to work for a cannabis company, then maybe it's not a company that I want to work for. Because this is an amazing industry and it's helping people medicinally, recreationally. It's putting, the economy back on its feet. I mean, obviously we went through COVID and cannabis was deemed essential. So the government's literally sending us stimulus checks to stay at home and get weed delivered to us. So I think the world is changing, and even New York is feeling it.
Completely agree. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Are there any, when you go to these events, are there any protesters or anything like that?
No, it's all happiness and people like just getting together and indulging in cannabis in peace. People love it. Again, they travel from all over the world. We've had people from Europe come to our Michigan Cups, just saying like, this is the only place that I've been able to come here, get quality product and smoke in peace with new people and make new friends. We rarely have any safety or health issues. The only thing that we've had is just like dehydration. People are just smoking and not remembering to drink water in these blazing hot summer festivals. But yeah, no protests, no fights. It's all good. And we even have some ruffians at our events. There's a lot of just people from all walks of life. And some people from I don't know how to phrase this exactly, but people from the streets who are coming in there, but they're staying cool, calm, and collected, all in the name of cannabis.
That's great. That's great. Mark, I've got to go down to my next meeting. It was great to see you. We'll have to touch base again soon. Thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions for Mark?
Another shout out, Harry's Italian, right on Gold Street. If you guys haven't been there, check it out. That's where I got my first job in college and worked throughout college. Amazing right. Italian food.
I remember that. I do.
Yeah. I loved Harry's Italian. I actually used to get all Pace, I think, Puma and other club organizations discounts on their food, which is really fun.
Someone else worked there. Was it Olivia or?
Yeah, I think Olivia worked there. TJ knows a bunch of our friends who work there. We had a bunch of Pace friends work there. There
I
was a
worked there
Pace.
too.
Oh yeah. TJ worked there. My friend Cooper, who I mentioned earlier, he worked there. And yeah, it's a great family, great restaurant. Another Pace student, Nick Angelis, got me my job there.
That's great. Definitely have to check it out. Thank you so much for coming to speak to us about your career path. And we're just really, really excited. And I will make sure to send you the video before we post it and everything. To any of the students who are here, we're having our next event on April 14th. It's going to be a Kahoot event, and there will be prizes. An email will be going out for that shortly. And we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you very much, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So I'm at kaz@hightimes.com. KAZ@hightimes.com. Hit me up.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Yeah.